and welcome to another lesson from Level Up Mathematics. In today's lesson, we will be exploring the point-slope form of a line. Before we do, let's give the formula for the point-slope form of a line. The line with slope m that contains the point x sub 1, y sub 1 can be described by the equation y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. In example 1, it says write the equation in point-slope form for each line described. So in problem A, they told us the slope, so we know our m, and we know that the line passes through the point 4, negative 3. So we also know x sub 1, y sub 1. So to write a formula in point-slope form, let's just write the formula again to help us memorize it. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the m and plug it in, and then we'll plug in the x1 and the y1 where they go. So let's start by simplifying this to y minus, now we want to plug in y sub 1, which is negative 3, equals m, which is negative 2, times the quantity x minus x sub 1, which is 4. Now, before you box in your answer, you want to simplify any double operation symbols. So where we have a minus minus, we need to simplify that to y plus 3 equals negative 2 times the quantity x minus 4. So this would be your final answer. Now, from this equation, we can identify the slope as negative 2, and we can identify one point on the line as 4, negative 3. All right, problem B. We have a slope of 4, and it passes through the point negative 3, negative 1. So we'll write down our formula, y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. All right. So in this problem, our x sub 1 is negative 3 and our y sub 1 is negative 1. So y minus negative 1 is equal to m, which is 4, times x minus x sub 1, which is negative 3. Then before you box in your answer, you need to simplify any double operation symbols. So minus minus becomes plus. So y plus 1 equals 4 times the quantity x plus 3. All right. In problem C, we have m is equal to negative 5, and we know that the line passes through the point 2, negative 4. So here's our x sub 1, y sub 1. So y minus y sub 1, which is negative 4, equals negative 5 times the quantity x minus x sub 1, which is 2. Simplify the double minus signs, so y plus 4 equals negative 5 times the quantity x minus 2. Now, pause the video and try problem D on your own. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did. So I put y minus 2 equals 1/2 times the quantity x plus 8. So if you got anything wrong, please pause the video at this time and correct any answer you got incorrect. Now, we can also graph a line that's written in point-slope form, because from point-slope form, it's easy to identify the slope and one point on the line. So let's look at example 2a. We have the equation y plus 2 is equal to 1/4 times the quantity x minus 1. So our slope is easily identifiable as 1/4. Now the point on the line, you're going to take the opposite of what's in the parentheses. So the opposite of minus 1 would be positive 1, and then take the opposite of the plus 2 to be negative 2. So we know this line goes through the point 1 comma negative 2, and it has a slope of 1/4. So to plot that, I would put a point at 1, negative 2, And then I would use my slope to find an additional point. So up 1 and right 4. And then connect those. All right, problem B. Y minus 1 equals negative 2 times the quantity x plus 2. So our slope is negative 2, and our x1, y1 would be negative 2, positive 1. So put a point at negative 2, positive 1. Now use your slope to find additional points. Now it may help you to write your slope as a fraction. Now in this problem our slope is negative, so instead of going up 2, we're going to go down 2 and right 1. So down 2 and right 1. Remember, if you have a negative slope, your line should be slanted downhill. If it's going uphill, you need to check your work because you did something wrong. All right, problem C. We have y minus 3 equals negative 1 times the quantity x minus 2. So in this problem, our slope is an understood negative 1, and our point would be positive 2, positive 3. Now, you might want to write your slope as a fraction, so you'll know how much to go down and how much to go to the right. So I'm going to go to over 2 and up 3, place my point on that they gave me, and then use my slope to get an additional point. So I'll go down 1, right 1, and connect the line. All right, pause the video and try problem D on your own. All right, welcome back. The slope for this line was 2/5. The point was negative 5, negative 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 1. And then I want to go up 2 and right 5. So it should look something like that. All right, example 3. It says write 2 different equations in point-slope form for each line shown. So in problem A, in order to write, in order to write an equation for this line in point-slope form, we need to do 2 things. We need, well, actually 3 things. We need to identify the slope, then identify point 1, and then identify point 2. So for the slope, we'll get our rise, which is 1, 2, 3, over our run, which is negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 6. And that will reduce to negative 1/2. Now, for the point on the left, negative 2, 1, 2, 3, negative 2, comma 4. And the point on the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, comma 1. All right. Now, we're going to first write an equation in point-slope form using point 1. So we'll say y minus 4 equals negative 1/2 times the quantity x minus negative 2, which would become y minus 4 equals negative 1/2 times the quantity x plus 2. So there's our first equation. All right, our second equation would be y minus 1 equals negative 1/2 times the quantity x minus 4. Nothing I need to simplify here, so I'm going to box it in. Now, I want to show you on, I'm going to use Desmos to show you that these 2 equations are equivalent. So let's see, I'll type in the first equation, minus 4 equals negative 0.5 times the quantity x plus 2. All right, so notice it matches the graph that we were given. Now I'm going to graph equation 2, and if these 2 equations are equivalent, we should get another line right on top of this red line. So y minus 1 equals negative 0.5 times the quantity x minus 4. and the two lines landed right on top of each other. So they are equivalent equations. All right. Problem B. We have a line here that's going uphill, and they want us to write the equation in two different forms using two different points. So we'll start off just the same. We want to get our slope, rise over run. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Our run is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have a slope of positive 2. All right. Now we'll identify point 1 and point 2. So point 1, I'll use the point on the left, is negative 1, 2, 3, negative 3. And the point on the right, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3, 5. Now, pause the video and write two different equations to describe this line. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did. For equation 1, I had y plus 3 equals 2 times the quantity x plus 1. And for equation 2, I had y minus 5 equals 2 times the quantity x minus 3. So check your work, and if you got either one of these incorrect, pause the video and correct your mistakes. All right. Now, in example 3, they gave you the graph of the line. So it's very easy to identify your slope by using rise over run. In example 4, they're going to give you 2 points again, but they're not going to give you the graph. So to find the slope, you're going to have to use your slope formula. So example 4 says write an equation for the line that passes through the 2 points in point slope form. Use the bolded point as x1, y1. So what I want to do first is identify my slope. So I'll say y2, which is 8, minus y1, which is 4, over x2, which is 5, minus x1, which is negative 1. So this would be 4 over 6, which would reduce to 2/3. So now we know m, and they also told us to use the bolded point as x1, y1. So y minus y1, which is 8, equals 2/3 times the quantity x minus 5. All right, pause the video and try problem B on your own. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did. The slope, I did y2, which was 8, minus y1, which is 2, over x2, which is negative 6, minus x1, which is negative 8. So 8 minus 2 was 6. Negative 6, and this would become plus 8, would be 2. So I got positive 3 for my slope. All right, they told us to use the bolded point as x1, y1. So y minus 8 is equal to 3 times the quantity x minus negative 6, which simplifies to y minus 8 equals 3 times the quantity x plus 6. If you made any mistakes in that problem, please pause the video and correct those before moving on. All right, example 4. Write an equation for the line represented by each table of values in point slope form. Use the bolded point as x1, y1. So again, just like example 4, we need to get our slope before we can write our formula. So I'm going to choose 2 points. It doesn't matter which two. I'll use negative 2, 7 and 6, negative 5 to get my slope. So I'll say slope equals y2, which is negative 5, minus y1, which is 7, over x2, which is 6, minus x1, which is negative 2. So this would be negative 12 over, this is plus 8. Those will both divide by 4. So negative 3 over 2 is our slope. Now, they wanted us to use the bolded point, So this would be x1 and this would be y1. So y minus y1 equals negative 3 over 2 times x minus x1. Then simplify to y plus 5 equals negative 3 over 2 times the quantity x minus 6. All right, pause the video and try problem B on your own. All right, for problem B, I used 2, 0 and 5, 78 to find my slope. So 78 minus 0 over 5 minus 2 was 78 over 3, which was 26. Then they said to use 2, 0 as your x1, y1. So y minus 0 equals 26 times x minus 2. And then I'm going to simplify that. I don't need the 0 because it's nothing. So y equals 26, parenthesis, x minus 2. And that concludes today's lesson, point slope form of a line.